What's up, everyone? Let's talk some Brock Lesnar. GoodMicWork back at you with a mic drop. Haven't done one of these in a while. It's been a really funny summer. A lot of changes were taking place on this channel, and I want to thank each and every one of you for your amazing patience and support throughout all of this. And now that the fall is here and we've got a lot of wrestling heading our way in the next few months, I want to get back to normal here with the videos and the content. Now, my full review and my full recap and my more in-detail discussion on Smackdown Live on Monday Night Raw and what we're going to see tonight on NXT will take place this Friday on a brand new Winged Eagle podcast, so tune in. I plan to have that up, or I plan to go live at 3 p.m. Pacific time, so that'll be 6 p.m. on the East Coast here in the States, and you can check that out on the channel this Friday as we go more into detail about the huge news that fell into our laps on Tuesday night. Brock Lesnar is back. He's back with the company, showed up on Smackdown Live just a couple of nights after Night of Champions, and Kofi Kingston successfully retained the WWE title against Randy Orton, beating him completely clean, avenging all of the wrongs from 10 years ago. And that was the only match on the entire Clash of Champions card that I got wrong, that I predicted wrong. I thought that this was going to be the end for Kofi. And Brock coming back, honestly, was not a huge surprise. This has been in the back of our minds for quite some time, dating all the way back to this summer. As a matter of fact, we discussed this on the channel the night of Money in the Bank, when Brock Lesnar showed up and grabbed the briefcase. And we were like, do you think that they're saving it, since Seth pretty much beat him decisively at WrestleMania? We were talking about this, that maybe they're saving Brock as the one to defeat Kofi and he can be champion going into the Fox show. That was on our minds right from the start. Now, what threw me off is the fact that for some reason, they brought Brock Lesnar back at Extreme Rules to take the belt, the Universal title, back from Seth Rollins, only to have a SummerSlam match with him and drop it back to him, completely clean. That, to me, threw me off. That, to me, kind of thought that maybe the plan wasn't for Brock to be on Fox. Because if that was the case, I would have just kept the briefcase on Brock this whole time. How entertaining was he with that briefcase boombox bouncing around, coming out there teasing everybody, especially with the way he won it, showing up at the last minute like that, and then he just gets to dangle it in our faces. I thought WWE could have had so much more fun with the briefcase than what they did. I guess they just really want to establish Seth as basically their new Roman Reigns, and they wanted him, to be able to have two really decisive wins over the Beast. One of them completely clean and the other one almost clean. So to me, that got my mind moving in a different direction, and I thought they might be saving Brock for a little while, and maybe he wouldn't come back and win the title right away. Well, lo and behold, on SmackDown, after Kofi Kingston and the New Day defeat Randy Orton and the Revival in a six-man, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman show up. They get in the ring, and Paul Heyman straight up challenges Kofi Kingston to a WWE title match on the very first SmackDown Live on Fox on Friday, October 4th at the Staples Center in LA, a show that I will be attending live. I will be there to see this. And this is likely going to be it for old Kingston. Wow, this was huge news. Now, I know I was complaining about the briefcase, and that's kind of stupid because he doesn't even need the briefcase to get a title shot, as we saw. Paul Heyman came down to the ring, challenged Kofi, and to Kofi's credit, he accepted. He said, absolutely, you're on, big man. I'll see you on October 4th. I don't know how smart that was with Kofi, but you have to admire his balls. So there you go. That match is set now, and Wrestling World is abuzz. Everybody's commenting and speculating on Twitter. Some people are even arguing. Some people are mad about this. I see a lot of I told you so's out there. I don't think it took a genius to figure this out. Now, granted, this was not on my radar because of the briefcase thing, but it's something that we all thought about. And yes, it's definitely understandable that WWE going to a major television network like this, they're going to want a name like Brock Lesnar. I think people read way into the ulterior motives. I've seen some crazy shit on Twitter tonight, and to me, I think it's just a lot simpler than that, and that is WWE wants to put on a good showing on Fox. This is a major network. For you football fans here in the States, you've been watching the NFL so far this year, you see a lot of SmackDown promotion. We've seen those SmackDown commercials. WWE stars are appearing all over the place. They are going to be heavily promoted. And to have a name like Brock Lesnar, somebody that's recognizable across the board, even to just mainstream casual people, that's who you want over Kofi. I'm sorry. I'm a huge Kofi fan. I was one of the happiest people in the world when he won the title at WrestleMania, just because I thought that he earned it. And I haven't been the guy that's been screaming he's a mid-card champion and he bores the hell out of me and this and that. I've been in full support of Kofi's run. So I think that now with SmackDown going to this network, WWE is going to want to have their big guns out. And unfortunately, I think that means Brock. So unless WWE pulls a big swerve on October 4th, and unless Kofi, because he surprised me at Clash of Champions, I thought they were just going to be done with it, give the belt to Orton, because another pay-per-view that's kind of on my mind and that I'm thinking about going forward is the Survivor Series. Now, if the Survivor Series doesn't change formats and they stick with this champion versus champion match setup like they have been doing, you're going to have a Universal Champion versus WWE Champion clash at this Survivor Series. So you got to wonder who the two champions are going to be. And I thought Randy Orton would have been a really good champion to have if on the other side you actually put the the Universal title on Bray Wyatt, on The Fiend, when he faces Seth Rollins at Hell in the Cell. And that's a whole nother subject that we'll get into more in detail on Friday. But I firmly believe that in order to keep this Bray Wyatt thing moving, you got to put the belt on him. And I'm normally in no rush to do things. I'm normally not one of those guys that thinks everybody should win the title. I'm not like that. Normally, I don't predict and want somebody to win the title this quick, but this Bray Wyatt character is so different that you got to strike while the iron's hot, and you've got to do this now. So if he does in fact win the Universal title at Hell in the Cell, who would make the best opponent for him at the Survivor Series? And I thought Randy Orton would make a good one because of their history and because that Randy took the title from him at WrestleMania. Payback time, bitch. But what would be even more interesting? If it's Brock Lesnar and The Fiend. Think of that build, provided Brock Lesnar shows up to fucking TV to do the build. Think about those two doing segments together leading up to their match. And also, what do you do there? Is that the match WWE really wants? On paper, it sounds great to us fans, but you got to think about two things here. Number one, is WWE going to beat Brock Lesnar again? He's already had two pretty clean losses to Seth Rollins this year. Are they going to do another one with Bray Wyatt? Would that damage him at all? I don't think it personally would, but WWE might think it would. And at the same time, on the other side of that coin, you don't want to beat Bray Wyatt right now either. If you ask me, the absolute earliest Bray Wyatt or The Fiend should lose a match is like early next year, preferably as late as WrestleMania or beyond. But he definitely, 100%, at least for right now, cannot be beaten. Or I think it really takes away from the gimmick and the character if somebody just beats him. I do not want to see that. And Seth Rollins better not go into this Hell in the Cell match. And it is in the Cell, by the way, I believe they did announce on Raw. And if he curb stomps this guy and pins him, it's like, fuck, now what? So I really try to think about those type of things when I'm looking at a situation, because it's really easy to say, oh, Brock's going to show up on SmackDown, take the belt from Kofi. Okay, fine. But then where do you go from there? What do you do in the Survivor Series? You do a DQ or a double DQ or whatever. Brock's had some success in these matches. He fought AJ a couple of years ago and then Daniel Bryan last year, right? Maybe he is due for one of these champion versus champion losses. I'd be down with that. But I don't know if WWE is necessarily going to do that. So you got to think about that too. If you put the belt on Brock and you put the belt on Bray, how in the world do you book that Survivor Series match? But it should be fun finding out how they do it. Fans are going to continually question whether or not this is the right move or not. You just have to look at it simply. You have to understand from a network perspective, WWE going to a new network, they're going to want to pull out the big guns. This is a really exciting time. Instead of us second guessing and questioning everything, we need to appreciate how awesome this is. We've got WWE stacking up a huge show on October 4th for SmackDown. They're about to kick off their NXT show on USA Network tonight. And it is about to go head-to-head in about 3 weeks or 2 weeks with AEW that's about to launch a new show on TNT. You have 3 new shows on cable and national television kicking off in the next few weeks. That is badass. So instead of being a whiny bitch about everything, why don't we appreciate this? This is awesome stuff. History is going to be made on all of these shows. You damn well can bet your bottom dollar that AEW is going to pull out the big guns for their first show too. And we're likely to see some crazy shit over there. we're probably going to see a title switch on October 4th. I haven't seen a WWE title change hands in person since, God, let me think. I guess 1999 with Austin and Taker. Off the top of my head, there might have been one more, but it's been about 20 years since I've witnessed a WWE title change in person. So that's going to be pretty cool if that happens. This entire new era of competition and new networks and all of these changes taking place across the wrestling landscape, not only in WWE but beyond, is resulting in an extremely exciting time, where we've got a lot of questions. Holy shit, what are they going to do here? What are they going to do with this guy? What are they going to do with that guy? So for me, I'm happy to see Brock back because I like to see how he fits in. And I don't think it's a situation where, WWE just going back to the legend or whatever the fuck. You have to understand the circumstances here. It has nothing to do with WWE being afraid of All Elite Wrestling, so they're pulling out the big guns. If they have the big guns, they're not going to be afraid. You see what I mean? So I think it's more along the lines of WWE wanting to get good ratings, especially at first on Fox. They want to come out swinging. They want to start off with a bang, because they might be able to capture an audience that they wouldn't normally get if they're able to really hit hard with a really memorable show with a lot of awesome excitement and great things happening. And if they're able to catch some of that casual viewer that just happens to have their TV tuned into the Fox channel because they were just previously watching something else or whatever the hell comes on before Smackdown, and they catch some of that and it's exciting to them, they might tune in next week. This might be a chance for WWE to grab back some of the casual audience that may have left them over the past 10 or 15 or even 20 years since the Attitude Era has been pretty much gone. So maybe they can remind people, hey, professional wrestling still exists. And people can say, oh man, I used to watch that. I used to love The Rock. I used to love Stone Cold Steve Austin. Wow, that shit with Brock Lesnar and everything that went down on SmackDown, WWE is still as wacky as ever. Maybe I'll tune in next week. I think all of that has to do with it. So to me, it's just exciting to watch. It's exciting to observe. I don't see the need to argue and debate and freak out over anything here. This is fucking awesome. So let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it together. Thank you for sitting through this mic drop. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to get up here and do these more often. I do have a This Day in History planned as well for September 26th, I believe. And like I said, tune into the YouTube channel this Friday for a brand new Winged Eagle podcast. We'll be streaming that live at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I will put up the link on social media and everything real soon. Shoot me a follow over on Twitter, by the way. Y'all be good, and I'll talk to you real soon. Peace.